If you don't feel safe receiving support, if it feels scary to you to say yes to something good in your life, there's a good reason for that. Let me explain. It's called nervous system dysregulation, and it happens to us, especially women. You see, women's lives are never easy, simply by nature of the fact that we are women. This world wasn't built for us, but we're trying to rewrite it. And one of the things we can do first and foremost is rewrite our own nervous systems. If we've been in a lifetime of patterning and training that tells us that saying yes isn't safe, that receiving support means we'll be taken advantage of, then our nervous system is hardwired to understand that safety isn't present. Now, this was highlighted for me just today in a one-on-one coaching session with one of my clients. One of the things that I do in my coaching sessions with clients is guide them towards healthy boundary setting. This is something that most women have challenges with, and I've got great news for you. As a woman, your boundaries, understanding, finding, discovering your boundaries is super easy. It is your clear, embodied yes, and especially your clear, embodied no. So I've got other videos on how to do this. I'll give you a quick overview here. If you close your eyes for a moment and think back to a time when something or someone was asking more of you than you wanted to give. Where did you feel that in your body? And most women will feel some sort of pressure or heaviness. Sometimes it'll be a closing of the throat or an inability to breathe or heavy butterflies in the stomach. It's some version of bad. That is your intuition, your body saying no. And when you override that, and so many of us do, and say yes anyway, that's a form of self-abandonment. And that is a way that we teach the world that taking advantage of us is possible. We abandon ourselves, and we often do it because we think if we don't say yes, that they, whoever they are, will abandon us. But look, abandonment happens anyway. So overriding the no is incredibly dangerous, and it makes you not trust yourself and your intuition. You stop listening to that inner knowing, that embodied knowing. And feminine women, we are embodied. We have to feel our bodies because that's where our intuition and our emotional depth, which are our greatest superpowers, lie. So after a lifetime of training, overriding that clear no, we become taken advantage of. We are often bullied. We don't feel like we even exist in our own lives. I see this all the time. So I work through this with the women that I work with that I coach. We do these exercises of identifying the no and then strengthening the issuing of that no, because when we have boundaries, we are containers for receptivity. Another incredible feminine superpower is our receptivity. So if you imagine receptivity as we have a container, we, as women, we are receivers. We are literal receptacles. Think of your physical anatomy, ladies. Yeah, that power portal you've got, that is receptivity embodied. But containers need to hold things. And every time we ride roughshod over our no, every time we second guess ourselves and issue a yes instead, it's like we're poking holes in that sacred container, and then we don't actually receive anything. It all just leaks through. So holding that no is a really basic, essential first step to feminine empowerment. I like to say that the phrase of the feminine is no. It's not yes. The phrase of the feminine is no. But along with that sacred no, there is also a sacred yes. Now, it seems to be that sacred yes gets issued less often. I think because as women, we need to protect our energy to a large extent. Again, that receptivity is sacred. We need to hold on to that energy and only offer it to those who are worthy or situations that are worthy. And the yes, when it comes, will be something that makes us feel more alive, something that will restore and replenish that sacred life force energy that is alive within us. We are the harbingers of life force energy. So when that sacred yes comes, it's telling us that we will be nourished by this. We will be uplifted by this. We will be fed by this. We will be empowered by this. And that's a yes we want to give. So I had a stunning moment today in this session. And we discovered a yes that she wanted to issue. And I said, how does it feel? And she said, scary. And this is because of nervous system collapse. A lifetime where yes meant that you were simply going to be drained. Yes meant you were simply going to be bullied, dishonored, taken advantage of, disempowered. So why would even my most sacred yes feel any different? We have to rewire our nervous system. And part of that, it's an internal job. It's learning, once again, to listen to your intuitive signals of yes and no, and always following them, because no one has ever been served by not listening to their intuition. When we don't listen to our intuition, we will always suffer. When we say yes and mean no, we will suffer. It's just the way it is, ladies. So strengthening our no, issuing that clear yes and no, holding our boundaries is the first step to empowerment. And that's how internally we can start to rewire our dysregulated nervous system to be safe, to not only hold that no, but to receive the joy in our yes. The other part of it, though, because we don't live in a vacuum. Sometimes I know we wish we did. And even if we are single ladies, we are still surrounded by those darned other people. And as much as our psychology says to us today, as much as pop, self-help culture says you should be all things to yourself at all times, honestly, that is continuing to affirm the patriarchal narrative that prizes individuality and do-it-yourself culture. I say fuck that. We do not live by ourselves. We are never alone. Other people do affect us. As humans, we are evolutionarily wired for co-regulation. If someone else is messing with our system, there is almost no way for that not to land or have no impact. I remember as a kid, my mother used to say to me all the time when I had a bully, "Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you." Do you remember that? Well, that's a nice pep talk, but it doesn't work. So there's two choices with those pesky others who either affirm our collapse and dysregulation or help to lift us out of it. There's two choices. Number one, we can hold our strong boundaries, and by doing that, they may take that opportunity to rise into their healthiest masculine or feminine expression. By holding your boundary, the only thing that can go into that container is the healthiest of what's around you. Sometimes people will rise. When you hold that boundary, when you say, you know what, I know you love me, but you can't treat me this way, and they've had so much permission to treat you that way, it may be a shock at first, but they have the opportunity to rise. Some people will. Some people love you enough to rise. You can give them that chance. And some people won't. Now, I always advocate for heavy curation of our life and space. If you give them the opportunity to rise and they don't, believe them. Believe them. Because they do affect you. They do affect your world. And especially as an embodied feminine woman who feels things so deeply, they will just have an impact on you. And while I don't advocate a level of self-protection that isolates us from relationship and others, I do advocate for a very heavy curation of our life and relationships so that we can stay in our feminine empowerment, strongly boundaried, fully containing all of the nourishment and life force that our body can handle. I want you to be safe to receive all the goodness that's coming to you, dear sister. So for more training in this, head over to my website, thesatisfiedwoman.com. And if you want to work with other women in this capacity, join me for the Satisfied Coach certification. I'm taking applications now and would love to empower you to empower others. And in whatever way you choose to participate in this movement, stay satisfied.